For me, it would be, and again, going to this idea of exclusion, one of the questions is that will be asked and has to be answered in court when that forensic pathologist gets up on the stand, which they will. They're going to look at that autopsy report, and if the state, this is not Morgan saying that, if the state is saying that this is in fact a gunfire-related death, all right, the attorney is going to ask a question that is similar to this. So, Dr. Smith, whatever the doctor's name is.
Guajardo.
What, in your opinion, what was the range of fire on this round? Okay, your assessment.
The range
of fire, yeah. So he's going to say it's indeterminate. That means you can't tell, right? You cannot tell how far away this round was fired based upon the examination of a defect, okay? All right, the bullet hole itself.
You've heard me talk about my dad and the wall he hit in his 50s with his energy. Suddenly, the same workouts he had always been doing lost their edge, his recovery sucked, and he woke up feeling tired every morning. None of it made sense. He was doing everything right, but his body just wasn't working like it used to. Most guys think these are all separate problems, but the truth is they're all linked to the same issue: high cortisol. Cortisol is your body's stress hormone. It's supposed to spike when you're under pressure and then come back down. But modern life, the screens, work deadlines, finances, keeps your cortisol jacked up 24/7. And when your cortisol is high, your body actually prioritizes stress hormones over testosterone production. There it is. Essentially, you're so stressed that your body is creating less testosterone, and that's why your energy, focus, sleep, and physical recovery suck. Which is why my dad started using Marsmen. Most products only focus on one side of the equation. Marsmen is different though because it uses natural ingredients to support healthy testosterone production while also helping your body manage cortisol levels. And Marsmen has no weird stimulants and no synthetic hormones. And the quality is legit. It's made in the USA, third-party tested, and now available at GNC nationwide. When my dad started using Marsmen, he noticed his workouts immediately kicked back up, his recovery was significantly better, and his energy was great throughout the day. And with their 90-day money-back guarantee, there's no risk trying Marsmen. But over 91% of Marsmen users report higher energy levels. For a limited time, our listeners are going to get 50% off Marsmen for life, plus free shipping and 3 free gifts when you go to mengotomars.com. That link is in my description below. That's mengotomars.com, link in my description below, for 50% off and 3 free gifts when you check out. After you purchase, they're going to ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them I sent you.
And then going to say, well, can you please describe for the court what you mean by that? And then he's going to, pivot in his chair. He's going to look at the jury and he's going to say something like, okay, so this is how it works. If someone, and you'll have variable numbers that come along with this. So they'll say something like, well, if it's a press contact, close contact, you're going to have very tight deposition of unburned powder, okay?
Unburned powder.
Unburned powder. Anything that comes out of the muzzle is going to tattoo the skin. It'll, like this, and it'll kind of surround that area, all right? Unburned powder, you can get smoke, you can get all kinds of stuff.
And that could be from different things.
Yeah, and we're talking about a close range, round like this. And then the further you move away, it's like the best way to describe it so that folks really understand, it's like having a water hose with a nozzle on it. So as you move further and further away, the spray kind of distributes like that, okay? Mm-hmm. And based upon the number that you can come up with, the diameter of the deposition of the powder and all of that stuff, you get an idea of range. That's how they determine range of fire with a firearm. But there's a point where it's generally between people will say between 18 and 36 inches away, okay? And a lot of this is dependent upon the type of weapon it is, what type of ammo is being fired, what kind of load it is. As you move further and further away, well, anything coming out of the muzzle of that weapon that is not a lead core projectile has very limited or inadequate aerodynamic characteristics. So it's almost like talcum powder at one point in time where it just kind of showers to the ground. You're not going to have anything. You move further and further back. So this round that's being fired, allegedly, from
38
here.
yards is what they say.
Yeah, you're talking about no evidence of deposition. But here's the cool thing about it, is that with a distance round, if you have something that is fired at a distance, there's two things we look for. There's going to be an abrasion, and this abrasion is, Baron, can I see your wrist real quick? Okay, so this is what it's going to look like.
Yeah, hold it
Remember,
up. Yeah, right there.
Remember when we were kids, and I'm not going to do this.
No, you can.
So you remember when we were kids and someone would grab your wrist like this and they would twist like this and like this opposite, right? And you get this burning feeling circumferentially all around here, okay? Well, now...
Burn.
You said that. I wasn't going to say it. But,
wait, you can't say that now? Come on. You're not allowed to say that?
Wait, hang on. Hush. Everybody
God
hush.
damn it.
I hear knocking at the door right now.
Jesus Christ.
He's culturally appropriated wrist injuries.
I'm a college
Steve's
professor.
coming
I
up with
have
the
to
gun.
do this. I have to be careful. Anyway, so imagine this round that's traveling down range that is spinning at this incredible speed. And when it hits the skin, guess what happens? It literally corkscrews into the skin. So you get this little abrasion ring right there. We look for that. And that's evidence that a bullet passed through. Okay. Now, the other thing that we look for is something called grease wipe or bullet wipe. And unfortunately, we don't have any rounds around here, but if you see a casing on a fully intact live round where the neck of the round is right here, and the projectile is actually seated down into the neck, or seated down into the neck, there's a little bit of grease that they put on this thing, and then they crimp it like that, and that holds around, and that's lubricated so that when it comes out, when that firing pin initiates through the little flash holes, it hits the propellant and then drives this thing out. It's being held in there by the crimping, okay, that holds it in place, but you want it lubricated to a certain degree so it's going to begin to spin out in an effective manner. Well, you get a little bit of grease in there too, so you'll see not only the little collar, it's actually called a collar abrasion, where the skin is twisted. You'll also see a little grease ring, and if the weapon is dirty, you can actually see, or the rounds are dirty, you can actually see dirt deposit, particularly microscopically if they go in and take a section of the actual entry point, which in this case I hope they did. Matter of fact, I hope they excised the entire wound and took it out.
Excised it?
Yeah, just cut it all out and saved it. I'm hoping they did.
Saved it?
Oh, hell yeah. There's
Like the mortician...
I've got so many things I want them to have saved in this case.
They've got to save all this stuff through the termination of his legal proceedings.
Yeah.
So in a death case, that's until they put the needle in his arm.
Yeah.
All this stuff has to be saved.
Has to be retained.
Yeah.
The other thing I'm hoping that they saved are all the structures of the neck. Everything. I'm talking about the larynx, the pharynx, the tongue.
Can I ask you a question? What if they didn't? What would that tell you?
If they didn't, then they feel very comfortable. I hope they feel comfortable with it, because if you don't retain it and save it, then you can't go back and, like you were just, pointing out, Baron, retention is a watchword with any. People always flee away from this. I don't know why it is, but people always flee away from the idea of stating that a human body is evidence. It's the biggest piece of evidence that we have.
Right.
Why would you go and send it back to the funeral home? We're doing the Nolan Wells thing. We talked about that a few moments ago off camera. And people are losing their minds over Nolan Wells because the state of Mississippi retained all of the structures in his neck.
As they're supposed to.
Yeah. Like,
I've not followed that. Was he strangled or what was
they
going on?
Don't know.
Oh,
I mean, they haven't released it yet. They're thinking drowning. They don't know, but the state ME in Mississippi felt as though that need to save that. So when the second autopsy was performed by somebody retained by the family in D.C., matter of fact, it was done by the guy that was the former chief medical examiner for D.C., great guy, very thorough. We've already seen his report. He says, I can't I can't look at the hyoid where we heard the hyoid before.
Epstein.
Can't see the hyoid because they still have it, at the ME's office.